I am coming at you today with a black spot. No, I'm kidding. It's my November wrap-up. So, I had an okay reading month because I only read 6 new books, but saying that, I did reread a few. So, I really read 10 books this month. Like I said, it's going to be a common theme. So the first book I read was Eleanor and Park. I picked this one up after my Carry On book hangover. I was in a really Rainbow Rowell mood and I thought I would read another one of her books. Never read Eleanor and Park before, so I picked it up. It's about 2 teenagers who get into a relationship with each other and then shit happens. It's a common theme in stories, I'm finding. It's set in the 80s, which is a little bit odd. But yeah, I did really enjoy this book. It was very sweet. It was a bit of a tearjerker, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Chew Volume 2 by John Lehman. This is the sequel to Chew Volume 1. Which I've talked about so much, I feel like I do not need to talk about the synopsis of this again. This volume follows Tony on an independent investigation overseas. It's called International Flavor, by the way. So yeah, so it's just more of his adventures. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I did the first volume, so I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. But it's still intriguing, so I'm gonna keep going with the series. I wanna see where it goes. The next book I read was Winter. This book I have been waiting for a year and a half, so I was very excited to finally get my hands on my physical copy when it arrived, but I read it on ebook, which I don't normally do, and I loved this. I think it was the perfect end to the Lunar Chronicles, and I wouldn't have done anything differently. I would have done something differently, but I'm not going to get into that because it was perfect the way it was. If you haven't read the Lunar Chronicles yet, I don't want to spoil you, so I'm not going to give you a synopsis, but really if you haven't read the Lunar Chronicles, you should really hop aboard that train. So I gave Winter 5 out of 5 stars and don't regret it. After I finished Winter, I did not fall into a book hangover, so I didn't reread the Lunar Chronicles in its entirety. I did reread them. I started with Cinder, the first book, then I read Scarlet, and then I read Cress, and then I reread Fairest. So yeah, considering I already reread the Lunar Chronicles after Fairest came out this year, yeah, that was kind of something I didn't really need to do. But after I finished rereading it, I then reread Cinder because it's my favourite in the series, and it's so beautiful. So yeah, so I wasted a lot of reading time doing that, but you know what, I don't regret it because every time I reread this series I find out something different. I pick up more stuff, sort of thing, and I get the feels every time, even though I know what's gonna happen. So yeah, I of course have given everything 5 out of 5 stars except for Fairest. Fairest gets a 4.5 out of 5. But yeah, these books and this whole series is beautiful. Really, you should go pick them up. Go do it. Go do it. After recovering from my Lunar Chronicles induced hangover, I picked up The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman. This is a mashup of 2 fairy tales, Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, and it's told in Neil Gaiman's characteristic, sort of dark and twisted way. So yeah, this book, well, the story appears in Trigger Warning, which I hauled recently. It's a collection of short stories. This version though is illustrated, so it's got these beautiful illustrations in it, and it's also got this like nice waxy see-through dust jacket, which is beautiful. But the story itself, I'm only giving 3.5 out of 5 stars. I do love Neil Gaiman's writing, but I think it suits a novel format more than it does a short story format, and so I didn't enjoy this as much as I could have. That being said, it is still a wonderful story, and if you're a big fan of retellings, definitely pick this one up. The next book that I read was Saga Volume 1. I finally hopped aboard the Saga train, and it is glorious. I love this. I kind of think I wasn't expecting it. I knew everyone's been raving about it, but I didn't expect this, and it was beautiful. And if you haven't heard of Saga already, then I think you're missing something. But yeah, so the art's gorgeous, the characters are wonderful, and the story was very intriguing. I'm going to pick up the second volume when I can afford it. I would have bought it this week, except I bought Shakespeare told in text and emojis, which I think was a very valid purchase, okay? So yes, Saga Volume 1, 5 out of 5 stars. The last full book that I read in November was The Incredible Adventures of Cinnamon Girl by Melissa Keel. This book is my spirit animal. I say that very literally. It is set in Australia in summer at Christmas. So that kind of threw me off a little bit because I don't normally read about young adult characters having Christmas in summer. So it was a breath of fresh air and it was beautiful. And Alba lives in a small, Alba, she's the main character, she lives in a small Victorian town and she is an artist and she is about to head off to university, so she's just finished high school, and she's sort of having like second thoughts. She's like, do I really want to leave what I have here? Like, it's a beautiful life, I love it. Do I want to leave it? Do I want to go out? Do I really want to study? And that kind of thing. So it's sort of like the same sort of things that every teenager has when they finish high school and they go off to university. With that being said, she also has to deal with a flock of doomsdays coming to her small little country town, and also that also brings the return of one of her childhood best friends who is now a D grade celebrity. So this book was perfect. I loved it so much and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, now there are some books that I didn't quite finish this month. The first is, what's it called? All I Know Now by Carrie Hope Fletcher. This is her memoir / autobiography kind of thing. It's sort of like more of an advice book, memoir thing. I've been listening to it on audiobook. I do not have a physical copy of it. If I did, I think I would have finished it by now because I don't get to listen to my audiobooks as much as I used to. I'm really enjoying it so far, but that being said, I'm not that far into it. So, second book that I've started in November is Fragile Things by Neil Gaiman. This is his second collection of short stories, the first one I've read. And like I was saying with The Sleeper and the Spindle, I like his writing, but I think it is more suited to a novel format. So I'm not enjoying this as much as I could be, but the stories are still very entertaining and they're very Gaiman-like, so I'm going to stick with it, see how it goes. The stories are good for reading on lunch breaks and stuff at work, so they're like the perfect size. So yeah, I'm going to stick with it, see how it goes. And the final book that I started in November was The Diviners by Libba Bray. My copy finally arrived and everyone has been talking about this lately, and I really wanted to get in on it. And so far it's not disappointing. I am only up to page 84 because I think I've been nanoing too hard, and so I haven't been reading, but I am really enjoying it so far and I want to keep reading it, I really do. Except I have my 12 Reads of Christmas readathon, my TBR for that I'll link up here or down below or something, and I can get rid of some books to add this one in, so I might have to do that, but I really want to finish this one before the end of December. So I'm enjoying it. It's about a teenager called Evie who is shipped off to New York and she has psychic powers. And there is a serial killer. I'm not very good at explaining things, so if you come to my wrap-ups for me to explain things, it's really not the place. You should go to Goodreads where they have a blurb. But yeah, I'm loving this so far. I want to finish it. I will get there. I will get there. That is all for my November wrap-up. If you would like to check out my other social medias, they are in the box down below. If you want to check out the 12 Reads of Christmas readathon group, that's also in the link down below. I hope you'll join us. It's a very exciting readathon and I've already finished one book for it. Yes, it's only December 2. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So I hope you have a very nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.